Good afternoon. This is the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority meeting for July 21st, 2022. I call this meeting to order. At this time, please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will confirm our members in attendance at this time. Francis Sheehan, who is attending remotely. Our solicitor, Frank Daly, who is a support personnel. Our treasurer, Stephen Roots.
Present.
And myself, Paul Johnson, as the chair.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Our secretary is not here, so somebody should be designated to take the minutes, and I am terrible at it.
Okay. Francis, would you mind scratching some minutes? Okay, and we have it recorded, so we can go back and confirm. That's a good thing about it. So
Sure.
maybe, okay, so between Francis and Ron, we'll come back with some minutes. Thank you, Francis. At this time, do we have a motion to approve the agenda? You all have received the agenda in advance. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, do we have a
Motion
second?
second.
You second, Francis?
Mhm.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. At this time, we will open the meeting to the public for comment concerning the agenda. The agenda was available on our website. It may have also been available on the Delaware County website with at least 24 hours in advance. Any public comment concerning the agenda?
There's nothing from Zoom, Mr. Chair. Please also note that Vincent has arrived. for the
Okay,
meeting.
we note Vincent's attendance. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
Sure. I will make a motion. You all should have received the minutes of the June 22 DeSigra meeting. I make a motion to approve those minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments concerning the minutes?
Nope.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Minutes are approved. At this time, we have a special guest presentation, Patrick Gunnan, Executive Director of Delaware County Literacy Council, and we welcome him to make a few remarks.
Don't let the crowd make you nervous.
Yeah, please be seated. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And thank you for this invitation. I'd like to share with you a little bit about our organization first, and then talk a little bit more about the proposal we submitted for our program. The Delaware Literacy Council was founded in 1975 by volunteers just to help really build the literacy skills of adults in Delaware County. And I think primarily first was in Chester. But it has since grown outside of just that one geographical area. What I'd like to, if it's going to work for me here, Sean, what am I doing here? Did I lose the connection? Okay. This is just one of the many different languages that of the people that we serve throughout Delaware County, and I'll talk more about that later on. Ideally, that you are either able to read one of those or even read the last one. If not, then maybe you do need to come see us and help you with this very vital skill that we have. Our mission statement is to help adults develop the reading, writing, math, and English language skills to thrive in the family and the workplace and in the community. I did not realize this until I took the job a little over a year ago, but I never thought about what is the definition of literacy. But it's much more complex than I ever thought. It's the person's ability to read, write, and speak in English, compute, and solve problems at the levels of proficiency necessary to function on the job, in the family, of the individual, and in society. And so that goes really beyond just the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. And it's been very rewarding for me to be able to see this kind of a program established. Here are some of the programs that we offer: adult basic education programs, English literacy, civics education, GED, high school equivalency preparation, English as a second language. We also offer career services, not only for our clients, but anybody who would like to receive that support. We do earn GED training for out of school youth, 18 to 24. And then our newest program is a digital literacy program that we're offering for any adult in Delaware County. Well, come on now. Our service delivery is that we have 6 levels to determine the proficiency level of the adults we serve. So it goes from the beginning and the basic, which is probably less than the 6th grade level, through the high secondary, which is the 11th and 12th grade levels. The English language is a second language. English as a second language is very similar, beginner, low beginner, high beginner. And so we do an assessment for every adult that comes in to determine what their proficiency level is in either the adult basic education or English as a second language. And then our volunteer tutors, and I'll talk more about that later on, really work with the beginning levels of for all the students, and they provide the one-on-one tutoring, and then we have paid full-time instructors for our classes. We have our career services. We work with any resident adult in Delaware County who are legally able to work, who are low income or recently unemployed or out of work for no fault of their own, or displaced homemakers. And this is funds that are provided through the Workforce Development Board. Our digital literacy class, we offer lectures and workshops in multiple sessions, again, for any adult in Delaware County wishing to improve their literacy skills. Our classes start in July and go throughout the entire year. We have 6 sessions, 6-week sessions, 6 hours per week for our students. And then what we do is after 40 hours of instruction, we do a post test to ensure that they're on progress to achieve their goals. What I wanted to share, these are in the Delaware County in the 2019 census, I believe, the population of 18-year-olds and over, how many people speak a foreign language as their first language, and which really surprised me a great deal of how diverse this community is. We ourselves, these are the students that we serve of different countries. We have 54 different countries of people who we serve throughout a given year. We are roughly serving about 500 and some odd adults throughout the entire year. Please don't ask me to read some of the smaller language, especially from this bar. But it's, again, we are really seeing, and primarily those individuals are coming from, and I'll explain a little bit later, just a couple of different geographical areas within Delaware County. Our program participation last year, and that number has actually gone up now. That's almost 500, 498, I believe. We have 146 active volunteers and tutors, 5% who work in math, 47% in the adult basic education, 43% who provide the English as a second language, and 5% who are doing the adult basic education and DSL. We have 15 full-time staff and 12 part-time staff, as well as those 50 active volunteers. The others, we are trying to recruit more, and COVID really put a damper on some of the tutors that we had prior to COVID. Our service locations, our Chester office is on Providence Avenue in Chester. We've been there since the mid-'80s, I believe. It was an old funeral home. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but it's an old 200-year-old building. It was a funeral home at the most recently before we came in. But we're also very happy to be able to use community space throughout the county. There are Darby High School, many libraries, the Chester and DCC Career Links is where we provide services for as well. Since COVID, we've started offering classes through the internet, as well as now we're going to be starting some hybrid classes. So Individuals who want in-person classes, we are going to offer those at the same time that those individuals who are wanting to participate virtually. These are the zip codes that we provide our students from. And as you see, the top 4 or 5 are primary, where most of our service is, the rest of our adults live within those zip codes. It surprised me when I looked at this, how spread out they are, but also shows me that there's a lot of other adults out there maybe that we're not able to serve prior because of not having the virtual opportunity. And they had some barriers of transportation or childcare. So it is a very broad scope of adults throughout Delaware County that we're serving, but we realize there are many more out there that we'd like to serve. What we're asking people is to help us is to identify community resource partners, whether it's space, whether it's financial, that would help us a great deal. We're fortunate that we receive most of our program dollars from the Pennsylvania Department of Education or Delaware County Workforce Development Board. Most of this is funding passed through from the federal government. But if you know federal dollars, it's very restricted in what we're able to use it for. And this is the reason why we're talking about asking for your support today. We would like to ask people to really emphasize how important proficient literacy is for adults, not only for their families, but even in their jobs. And the literacy is not necessarily just, again, adult basic education, digital. One of my goals is, as I would like to start a health literacy program, because I just know myself how difficult it is to understand sometimes some of the health questions and health information is out there. And I really feel that I'm not an unusual character in Delaware County. We talk about providing space for tutors and instructors. Quite often they're having to go into libraries. It has to be somewhere private, but also fairly, hopefully close enough where there's not a barrier of transportation around. And then advocating for affordable internet connectivity. Most of our adult students during the COVID and even now probably are participating via their smartphones. And that's just not the right way to participate in the classroom activity. And so we're trying to work on not only getting them connections to a Chromebook or a laptop, but also hotspots or any kind of affordable internet connectivity. That's just my contact information there that you have. I didn't put my last notes on there. The proposal we submitted to you was to help us cover the cost of marketing our programs to be able to spread out our programs throughout the county. Again, most of our services are from Upper Darby down towards Chester. And we feel like there's a lot of people within Delaware County that we could reach. And because of the internet, we are able to reach out to even more people. And we'd like them to get the word out through paid advertisement, print, social media. The government does not allow us to use any of our program dollars for marketing and advertising. And we don't charge anything for our fees for our program participants. Everything is free. And so it's hard for us to really develop that revenue to cover that cost, but we know that's part of doing business. And I think I bored you enough, but I wanted to save some time in case you had any questions before I sat down for a few minutes.
Any questions?
I have a
Comments, stuff?
Let the Zoomers go first. I didn't say boomers.
There's nothing wrong with being a boomer.
Oh, okay.
We all have something to contribute.
Sure. So I have a question. In looking at the list of people who have a foreign language as their first language, I'm sort of trying to map that to your statement about a lot of services being provided in Upper Darby. And I'm just wondering if you think there is sort of unexplored potential in those communities in terms of those numbers? I mean, do you really feel that we've captured the folks in those categories, or yeah?
And just Upper Darby or?
No, across the county.
Oh, without a doubt. Right now, since the term that we just started back on July 6th, we are serving roughly 180 adults. More than half of them are immigrants, and this is the first time. And again, most of those are in the Upper Darby down south towards Chester. And primarily one because of the virtual capabilities and being able to do it at home, as I mentioned, childcare. But we're also partnering with Upper Darby High School, and so they help us get word out to all the parents of the children that they have in their school. They provide free space for us. They provide some funding to help cover cost of staffing. But there's no doubt in my mind that there is a significant population elsewhere throughout Delaware County. We had just started a program at the Community Action Agency in Delaware County in Boothwyn to start some digital literacy classes out there. And so that's what we're hoping to do. There's many parts of Delaware County we haven't touched upon. And we feel like to help get the word out, we need to be able to use some more than just word of mouth.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, because that's sort of my follow-up question is, how do you reach kids who aren't in an area where there's critical mass, right? A sort of a more isolated instance where it's kind of a double whammy for that person, because they don't have the community around them, and they might not also have the resources from the Literacy Council. So that's something that I would be particularly interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, my thought is there are community agencies that serve throughout various areas of Delaware County that we would like to partner with to get the word out to them. Churches, whether it's through bulletins or whatever kind of advertisement we can do. And I want to do this frequently. Doesn't do it just to do it one time and hoping that you're going to hit everybody within Delaware County with one free press release.
Right.
So whatever is paid advertisement through the local community newspapers. If we are going to do some radio spots, and we got to do it in different languages, and so we would work with the different radio stations that they may listen to. That's just part of the approach that we want to use, and ideally, with the funding that we will be receiving, we'll get a really good grasp of how well the marketing plan is going to be working, probably by December or January at the very latest. And my goal is that spots and advertising would go out at least 4 weeks prior to our first term, because what they have to do is they have to come register. We do an intake on them, and then we do an assessment. And it's about a 3-hour assessment that they have to go through. And then once we do that, then we place them in classes. And so it's based upon their skill level. They go to class 2 days a week, 3 hours a day, plus they have homework that they have to do. So, but it's not just even the immigrant population, even just the general adult basic education population is a big need. And we really are in need of trying to recruit volunteer tutors. It's very difficult because many of the volunteers that we had, the tutors we had, did not want to do it virtually, and our students don't want to meet in person. And if you haven't really tried to do any kind of teaching or instructing, doing it on a Zoom is very, very difficult. You have to have somebody who's really trained to know how to really get the message across. It's working for many of them, but we really could use many more tutors.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I am a professor, and I have taught face-to-face and also virtually. So I know the challenges of doing both a little bit, and the preferences of students, some that want to have it remote and take it at their convenience, and some that feel like they need to be in the classroom to learn in a variety of ways. But I wanted to ask you, have you conducted any market research or surveys to see, are there specific communities in the western part of the county that you think are untapped for these literacy services?
I have not done that yet. One of the things we're going to be doing is there's a program at Villanova, the School of the Business,
Okay,
some capstone program and asking for some of their business students to help us develop that market survey. A lot of it's just word of mouth that I'm talking to other counterparts within the county
right,
as to knowing who's who and where
okay. All
and things of that nature.
right, so
and-
you've gotten a lot of anecdotal
Yes.
information that there's a need in the
And
western
we,
part.
and
of the
we know
county.
that a lot of those zip codes that we saw, they were, 2 to 3%.
Right.
And those are mostly in those outlying areas.
Okay,
And I agree with you. I am not a boomer zoomer, I have to do it in person.
Right.
If I had to go to school now virtually, I would have dropped out many years ago. So, but I'm probably not the normal person anymore.
right. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions and a couple comments.
All righty.
I'll start with the questions. If you were to receive dollars for recruiting, you're telling us it's both for volunteers and students?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we can combine the message into both.
all right. And you confused me with one of your statements toward the end there.
Okay.
With regard to the when, if we were to give you money today, I've got a checkbook today. If we were to give you money today, are you saying you wouldn't use the money until the term coming in 2023?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Our terms start July 1st and go through June of 23. And so our next term starts at the end of August. So I don't know if we can put together anything that quickly, but then October is our third term. If there's some things we can start for our September term, but it's the,
Well, hold on. What happens between July and June? What,
well, that's where we have classes all throughout. They're 6-week sessions and
Okay,
they
so
meet
each
twice a week.
6 weeks is considered a new term?
That's correct.
Gotcha.
That's correct. So yeah, we have 6 terms throughout the year, seven terms, sorry. We take out holidays and that kind of stuff, but yes, it starts July and this one is going to go through mid-August and we start end of August and go through mid-October.
All right, so a couple quick comments, being a Chester guy, I've known a lot of people who've gone through the Literacy Council. You do amazing work.
Thank you.
And if you've never attended their gala fundraiser that they have, my goodness, you must.
October 19th.
Man,
Oh.
they spare no expense and it is so much fun. So
And we're
yeah,
and we're
please
going
remind
back
us of
to-
that because we
I
would
will.
love to
Thank you.
support that
Yeah.
as individuals, and I'm speaking for the board. Like I know what you guys have in your pocketbooks, but I tell you, it's really worth supporting. They do it big and they do it right.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind, very quickly, I'll answer part of that. We are on October 19th. It's gonna be back in person again at Harrah's. It's gonna be the old, I've never played it before.
Quizzo.
With Quizzo, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But we're having some of our students and instructors who are gonna be part of each team. And we're gonna test you all on your adult basic education and civics education. So, but we're looking forward to it. So thank you for that.
Okay. Any
October
other-
what?
October 19th.
Putting that in now.
It's,
Okay.
I think it's like 6 o'clock to 8 or 8:30. I don't remember which.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, on behalf of the SIGGRA, I'd like to thank you for coming today and presenting to us.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chairman.
free to stick around or you're free to,
I've got enough
free to
work
go.
I've got to get done too. So
Okay, I hear you. Thank you so much.
for all your work you do.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
So let's continue with our meeting. I'll turn it over to our treasurer for treasurer's report, and he has a few motions. I'll allow you to make the motions if you'd like.
Okay, thank you. Let me get back to the agenda. We'll start off with the monthly treasurer's report for July. The opening balance was $221,000, $275.75. The ending balance from the June 2022 statement was $214,448.80. This report was prepared on July 14th. At that time, in the bank, we have $209,729.80. listed on this report are some checks that have cleared. Many of them were long outstanding, like the Chester Police Department and Chester Fire Department. They finally got their checks cashed, and there were no outstanding checks this month. As far as any questions on the report? So I make a motion to approve the July 2022 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
All those in favor
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed or abstained? Seeing none, motion carries. Motion to authorize the treasurer to pay an invoice of $281.65 for Daily Times notice to Emergency Services Grant Round 2 on 6/22/22.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? I hear none. Motion carries. Motion to authorize treasurer to pay invoice for $5,100 balance for Barbicane Thornton and Company for professional
Wait, I
service.
think you skipped one. Do you see the motion to authorize treasurer to pay second quarter for Daily Law Firm?
I do now.
Okay.
I feel his eyes darting through the glass.
Would you like me to read that? or you-
I'll do a motion to authorize treasurer to pay second quarter 2022 invoice of Daily Law Firm for $2,250.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Motion carries. Now we'll get back to the motion to authorize the treasurer to pay invoice for $5,100 balance for Barbicane Thornton and Company for professional services for period ending 6/30/2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, hearing none, motion carries. Motion to authorize treasurer to pay invoice for $300 to Course Vector for monthly update program due 6/1/2022 and 7/1/2022.
Question.
Question.
I'll approve this motion, but I think we need to get in touch with Course Vector because I didn't know we were being invoiced $150 per month. I was not, it may have been discussed, but I didn't think it was going to be to that amount. I don't recall that. I don't know if anybody else recalls that in a meeting.
I don't recall it, but I don't think it's an unreasonable amount. It seems
Okay.
very reasonable to me. $900 annually to, what's 150 times 12? I apologize. Yeah, 1,200.
$1,200.
$1,200 a year to maintain our website of that complexity, I don't think is unreasonable at all.
You know what? I might be confusing it with, the 150 might be the monthly maintenance, but I thought that we had purchased a block of time.
We've
Or
used
there
that
was a-
up.
Say it again?
We have used that block of time.
Okay, I thought maybe we renewed an additional block of time. I thought that we,
Mm-mm.
okay,
Because now we're off and running and we've all been trained. So the idea is that they shouldn't
Okay.
really have
all right.
a,
So when we did train, I think we brought this up a little bit. The one thing I do remember him saying, and we do need to look at this contract again, but that we could get out of this at any time. It's not it's almost like a month to month.
Right, right. okay.
So we're all trained. We can put up the, information, the data, the content, ourselves. So the question we have to ask ourselves in the future is, are we getting anything for the $150
Right,
moving forward?
Okay.
And if we do need services from them, would it be more prudent to just do it on a, case by case basis as opposed to paying the $150 a
okay.
month?
My question is answered. Thank you.
So do we have a second?
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mhm.
Motion carries. Can you read the next one?
Sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Magic of phones. Motion to authorize treasurer to pay one-time expense or monthly invoice up to $250 effective September 1st, 2020. This item may need to be a bylaw amendment.
I have a question and I'll let the solicitor make a comment at this time. So I know you were following up on this and also if you can let us know if this needs to be an amendment to the bylaws or not.
It does not require an amendment to the bylaws. The authority has the ability to adopt policies such as this. The only thing I'd recommend is that, and I did check with our auditors also, is that if we do exercise the prerogative that the matter be put on the next month's agenda for ratification.
For any expenses that are paid by the treasurer in advance of that meeting.
But your motion is to limit it to $250.
Correct.
So can I just understand that? Can I just understand what we're authorizing, we're saying to Stefan, you can write any check and pay any bill up to $250 in between meetings without the board's approval, with the understanding that at the next meeting, you're going to let us know about it.
That's correct.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And we still have the 2-check signature requirement, so
True.
check could go out.
Yeah, this came up out of a conversation between Stefan and I that he may have a very minuscule invoice and he has to wait until our meeting before he can submit the check. So that was our recommendation. Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions.
And that concludes the treasurer's report.
Going to make that
Second.
motion?
I'll second the motion.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? The motion carries.
Point of information. Would it, when we have a regular monthly payment, like the $150 to Course Vector, can we just make that an ACH transaction so that it's pulled out of our account every month without you having to write a check?
Is that are you talking about, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you talking about the QuickBooks?
No, there should be an ACH form that that TD will give us, and we have Course Vector fill it out. And then that authorizes TD to pull the 150 out of our account every month and transfer it into Course Vector's account. And that way you guys don't have to get together and write a check for $150.
All right.
You
I
can-
think the
Yeah,
more
I'd
that we do that.
I'll just
sort of
take a
thing.
trip to TD Bank and get that ACH form. It's a form that they'll give me.
It's
that
just
we-
a simple, yeah, I can even, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
note to self.
All right, at this time, I will turn it over to the solicitor for his report.
Just have one matter. The Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Act requires that once a year, an authority publish a financial statement. Again, in coordination with our auditors, I checked and I certainly didn't think we needed to publish our entire audit. That would have cost a fortune. Instead, he has provided a very simple form that lists revenues and expenses, the excess of revenues, expenses, our net position, and outstanding debt. We do need to advertise this once a year, and I would ask that the board consider making a motion authorizing me to place the financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2021 in the Delaware County Daily Times.
I will make a motion to authorize solicitor placement of required annual notice of our short form financial statement developed by our auditor in the Daily Times. Is that acceptable?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to second it only to have a conversation. Is the fact that our audit will be uploaded on our website and therefore available 24/7 forever and ever, amen, that is not sufficient to meet the act? You actually have to put in something in a newspaper?
There's a very specific section of the Municipal Authorities Act that requires this advertisement or notice once a year.
So we don't even have to put it on, as far as they're concerned, stick it in a paper and don't even put it on your website. Okay,
I didn't write the statute.
I know you didn't, Frank. I think the newspapers did.
Yeah, you have a good point there.
Any other,
And I'm all about newspapers.
any other questions or comments? All right, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I'm sorry, aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Any other items, Mr. Solicitor?
Not anything that I have unless any board member has a question.
Thank you. All right, we do have Next Generation Grant update. Ron Evans is celebrating his dad's 100th birthday tonight.
Wow.
Oh,
So we extend great wishes and great health to their family, and we will proceed. We can table this if we need to, but if Vince, I don't know if you have a publicity package update or not. If we can postpone it to August if you need to.
Yeah, no, I do. I've drafted a boilerplate media advisory that I think we will be able to start using if we insert the DeSigra logo and folks have a chance to take a look at it. I have it printed, and so I was expecting to be able to hand it out today, but I'm happy to share it with the group. And that way we can begin the process of refining and editing it. And if somebody could email me a logo that I can drop into the document, that would also help. But the advisory, the advisory has been drafted, and we can talk about building it out from there if we wanted to include any kind of pictures or bios or anything else about the authority. Right now, what it has is the who, what, where, when of what the event would be for the check presentation, and some boilerplate language from the website that describes the creation and nature of the authority. So if folks have, some other ideas about what could or should be included, I'm happy to incorporate those before I circulate.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Vincent? Thank you for doing that. We look forward to, excuse me, we look forward to seeing that boilerplate, and we can all provide our perspectives and suggestions to it. So thank you for working on that. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think Vince should know we don't have a logo.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll think of something.
Well, and I think our technician, Sean, has created something of a logo with the picture of Delaware County with DeSigra in the middle of it. So we may be able to use that on an interim basis.
Nice.
I thought we were supposed to use the county.
Oh, sure. I mean, if there's something that says that we use the county logo, or if maybe we're allowed to put them side by side, I'm not really aware of sort of those communications guide rails, but I could contact the county comms staff
Okay.
and see.
Oh, you know what? Let's not make them worry about this. If you look at the website, we have the if you look at the website, you'll see that we have the words Delaware County with Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority underneath it. It's not really it's not really a logo. I mean, there's no picture, but it is a set typeface with use of the words in relationship to each other.
I'm happy to make that work if you think that's the safest way to go.
For now.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And you could, when we get the snapshot of what Sean has created, you can take a look at that and make your decision. But I think we are using just a typeface for the stationery.
Okay.
Using the logo. Okay. All right, we'll proceed. Next, old business is 2022 DeSigra draft budget by Francis Sheehan.
So Sean, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. What that looks like. Share screen.
There you go.
Okay, let's pull pull this all the way up. Got a lot of things open between the minutes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so are you seeing the Excel spreadsheet?
Yes,
Okay, super. Is it visible, folks, or do you need me to?
I have a printed one, so I can follow along.
I would-
Vince, can you see the Excel
Uh,
spreadsheet on your screen?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, do you need me to move it over to the middle, or is it all fine?
No, it looks pretty good. I can see, I believe I can see all the columns. Yeah.
Okay, so as we discussed at our last meeting, Stefan and I worked on making sure that the January to June actuals were accurate, little bit off, because in some cases a payment was approved in December and wasn't paid till January, et cetera. But we started the balance of the year with $150,000. We received two large payments from the gaming revenue, $60,000 in February, $87,000 in April. Somebody is chatting with me. Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't, I was giving everybody what they needed. Then, of course, there are interest payments for a total of $148,000, which left us, would have left us if we hadn't spent any money at all with $298,000 or 288, sorry. Or no, $298,000. We anticipate another two payments in August and in November of approximately $70,000. Could be more, could be less. We thought that was a safe number to work with. We received 87 in April, but that was also during the, I think it was the NCAA finals. People thought that might have beefed up gaming revenue. We'll see. When you look at the expenses, I grouped them into two buckets. One is grant expenses and one is operating expenses. In the first case, we paid out for just over $47,000 in emergency grants between February and June. The checks totaling $47.19 were not cashed until July, so I put them in there. We paid out $25,000 to the Share Food Program, another $5,000 to the Delaware County Community College's Equity and Social Justice Center. We have authorized, or the county has authorized $144,000 to go out the door this month. And we authorized the $6,400 to Ridley Park Presbyterian Church, but again, that needed authorization. And did we authorize the next bolus of $50,000 for emergency grants, Paul?
Yes, at the last.
Okay, so we authorized that, so I put that in the budget as well. So the total we're bringing in for the year is 288. I'm anticipating minus 282 in grants, but we already had 150,000 in the bank. In terms of operating budget, first of all, Stefan has been incurring some expenses, for instance, paying QuickBooks monthly fee and some printing and a few other things. So we put those in the budget. The 667 represents $53 a month that we incurred for the first 6 months, another $58.30 that we anticipate for the next 6 months. The audit, I thought the contract was $8,600, even though we only just authorized payment of $5,000 something. So I'm not sure. I guess they're going to issue us a final bill. For website development and maintenance, that is, I have a little worksheet down at the bottom for Course Vector, and we paid $561 in two amounts to them. And I'm anticipating we'll have to pay another $150 a month plus $50 for some other subscription for the website that Stefan thought we should tuck in there. We also pay, we've been paying a monthly fee for 3 email domains, and we haven't reimbursed Stefan for the first year of payments, and we're going to need to pay for the second in this year. So that's $100. Printing and postage, including our new stationery, $300 is more than enough. Daily Times, we paid $145 in the first month. We'll be paying probably advertising, grants, and other items totaling maybe 600 through the balance of the year. Solicitor fees have been running between 2,400 and 2,500 per quarter. We paid 2 bills. That included last December's bill that we paid in January. So because of that, we put in 2,500 for July, paying again in maybe November. We may not pay again till next January, which would reduce this by 2,500, but we just wanted to be safe. So total operating costs of 24,000, which I think is extremely reasonable amount of money for the amount of activity we're generating. Total expenses, 83,000 in the first 6 months, including grants, 223 in the next 6 months. Again, I apologize for the water running behind me. $307,000 total expenses for both grants and operating expenses, leaving us with an estimated amount of $130,000.
Okay. Questions or comments for Francis? Thank you for doing this. It's very organized and very detailed. Thank you, Stefan, for providing the backup documents as well concerning the expenses. Yes, go ahead.
So essentially, we have $130,000 to spend on either a special grant like the Delaware County Literacy Council and other special, either a specific purpose round, and we'll have to think about how much money do we want to leave in the budget. If over the next 3 months this proves to be an accurate budget, perhaps we make sure that each year we end the year with about 30,000 in the bank, if we know that we've got more than enough to pay for operating expenses in the next year.
Okay, Stefan?
Yeah, Francis, I just came up with another expense, nothing major, but it looks like we'll be burning through a book, if you will, of checks every 6 months. They're $30 to replace, so maybe $60 to $75 a year just in check cost to the bank.
I'm sorry, can you tell me that amount of money?
It looks like we're going through the checks that are issued from the bank that we write, the physical checks. They're $30 per order. It appears we're going through 2 orders a year, so $60 to $75 per year.
When you go to TD to talk with them about that one ACH transfer, you might want to ask them, what's the difference in the cost of writing a check? You know, ordering these checks as payment versus an ACH transfer, because I think the ACH is a lot cheaper. And there's no reason why every organization that's giving us, where we're giving them money, should not be able to easily fill out that form. It could be even a PDF, it could be a PDF that we easily mail to them and send over. But let's add the 70 in for, you said for a year. So
Yes.
have we already paid? What didn't show up on our bank statement in the first 6 months?
No, I just put in an order today when I was at the bank, so it'll be on our next statement.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. And I know
All
it's, any other questions or comments? I know it's highly uncustomary, but I believe our auditor has suggested that we approve a budget. So even though it's in the middle of the year, most likely at our next meeting, I'll put a motion on the agenda to approve this budget for the balance of the year. But starting in 2023, we're going to have a calendar year budget. So it's just, I think that was one of the recommendations from the auditor, was to actually approve a budget at the meeting. So I will put this on we don't have a motion for this today, so I will put it on the motion in August. I'll put it on the agenda in August. That's what I meant to say. All right, thank you. New business. This is just a discussion at this time about adding a proxy vote provision to the bylaws, which would that have to be added to the bylaws, Mr. Daly?
It really can't be done,
It can't or cannot be done.
The Authorities Act spells out, and the Open Records Act spells out that you can attend in person or you can attend electronically.
Okay,
And electronically is Zoom, I guess FaceTime, telephone,
okay,
all those qualify. But you cannot have people voting who are not at the meeting,
okay.
either electronically or physically.
All right, thank you. And the only reason I brought that up is, you know, Ron wanted to be here, wanted to participate. There are some motions here that may result in a tie and that he's advocating for, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to participate. But if we will abide by the laws of the Commonwealth.
Yes.
So thank you for your
Okay.
expert comment on that. There was also another discussion, and I'll make the motion first and then I'll provide some background. So I'm making a motion for a new grant recipient policy to deposit their grant check within 30 calendar days upon mailing or presentation. Secondary check will be provided if lost, minus stop payment bank charges no later than 45 days upon initial mailing or presentation. And this policy will go in effect September 1st, 2022. Do I have a second for this motion and then we can discuss?
I second.
Okay. I will make a comment and Stefan may make a comment as well if he'd like to. So we had an incident with a few municipalities that did not deposit their check within a reasonable time. So we were making a policy that they would have to deposit their initial check within 30 calendar days of either the date that it's mailed or the date that it's received in a physical presentation. If they do not deposit that check within that time, if the bank does issue a stop payment charge for that check, it would be deducted from the secondary check. And that secondary check must be deposited within 45 days of the initial mailing or the presentation date. Stefan and I are aware of a couple of municipalities that had this issue. Fortunately, the bank did not charge a stop payment charge for this initial incident, but that's not to say that they won't do that in the future. So for example, if someone receives a check of $5,000, the bank charges $50 to stop that check. If that municipality or organization, I shouldn't just limit it to municipalities, we could issue a new check for $4,950 because we're incurring that expense. But I don't want to just say, you know, see us on the second go round that we're not going to fund them. So this is I think this is a reasonable policy that we are that I am recommending. Are there any other questions or comments before we take a vote?
Yeah.
I
real
don't-
quick.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Stefan.
real quickly, I think this for checks is reasonable. If we're moving forward with ACH as the preferred way of
Mhm.
making our, payments, do we also want to, I don't know how it works, but I imagine, and I'm asking you, Francis, on this one, we have a new person we're going to award a grant to. We will give them the form. They have to process the form. It would almost be treated like a check then. I mean, does that mean they have
Well, they have to
the same
send the
amount
form
of
back.
time to process the form?
They have to send the form back to you.
Okay,
You file it.
I see.
So if they don't send it back to you, you haven't sent them any money. You can, contact them a week later and say, hey, I haven't heard back from you, but you haven't sent them anything. I would just say this, keeping the ACH transfer issue separate. For this, I don't have a problem at all reducing the second check by the amount of a bank stop charge or stop check charge. My only concern about the resolution is that you're creating guidelines for yourself that you now have to follow and you have to keep on top of. And I just think you just have, now you're creating a policy you have to adhere to. Well, what if you miss it by a day? You're out of compliance. They're not in trouble. They didn't. You're just creating more work for yourself, more. That's my only, this is a fully volunteer organization. And so it's really, that's my only concern.
All
If
right,
the
so
two of you really want to do this and you really want to pay attention to adhering to it, and then I'll support it. But I'm also thinking of future treasurers.
yeah, that's a consideration. So I'm gonna offer this compromise. If it shows up twice on the treasurer's report as an outstanding payment, then we can make the contact with that grantee and say, hey, we're stopping the check, as opposed to having a hard, fast, keep track of the calendar for so many days.
Because it also depends. I think you want a certain amount of flexibility with the folks you send the checks to. I think it's worked. I mean, it's been a hassle for you to track people down and figure out where the checks are. But it's been my sense from what you've said, the issues are different in each community. And so not having a policy like this gives you some flexibility. But again, I'll support it if you want, if this is what you want.
So 2 months showing up as an outstanding check on the treasurer's report would prompt contact to that person, that organization, ask what the situation is, see if it can revolve right away.
I'll make a motion to table this motion.
Okay,
And we
We'll
create a
talk
new
about it again.
motion we create a new motion for August.
You don't have any outstanding checks right now.
yeah, we have none now.
Right. And this wouldn't go in effect until September 1st. So I'm going to make a motion to table this motion.
I'll
With the
second.
possibility of it being replaced by a new motion. Do I have a second to table my motion?
Yeah, second.
All those in favor? Please signify by comments, questions. All those in favor of tabling this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Is that acceptable, Mr. Dunn?
That's fine. I just want to remind the chair that you should be putting a motion to untable on the next
To the next
agenda.
meeting, okay.
If there's a new motion.
Correct.
Mhm.
Well, I think I still have to untable a motion in the next meeting, regardless if there's a new motion or not, correct?
Not necessarily. I
Okay,
think that
so it
if
could
there's
be
a new
tabled forever.
motion, and the tabled one just stays in limbo.
Okay,
Right.
thank you. All right, thank you. I'm watching the time. I'm trying to watch the time. I'm sorry. Motion to provide, I will make this motion to provide grant of $25,000. And I'm sorry for the error, the misprint in here. Motion to provide grant of $25,000 to Delaware County Literacy Council, subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
Okay. Questions, comments? All All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 In the interest of time and also looking at the budget, I make a motion to table my motion concerning a Parks and Recreation Facilities Grant Fund.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion is tabled. Okay. For next generation grants, the following motions for 2022 grants are to nonprofit organizations serving youth in Delaware County via our next generation grant. There is a motion. I am not going to make the motion, but someone can make the motion. A motion to increase total allocation for next generation grants from previous increase of $125,000 to up to $154,000. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I can make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I will make a comment. I'm just a little concerned about the vast increase in this allocation, but I will approve it. But I'm just concerned that this grant fund has been increased and there are still outstanding grants that we may be coming back in the August meeting and increasing this allocation again. And I know that we've done it for the emergency services grant, but that was like approximately a 1 or 2% increase in the total allocation. So it's just a concern.
Yeah.
I will support the motion. I just wanted to make a comment.
Why don't you introduce a motion at the next meeting to close the fund?
I may consider that. All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. Motion to approve $9,990 grant for Chester Community Coalition, subject to county council approval. I will make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Abstain? Against? Motion carries. Motion to, I will not make this motion, but I will allow someone else to make the motion. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Chester Eastside Incorporated, subject to county council approval.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I'll make a comment. We kind of started a trend not to fund staff or human resources, and this grant requests funding for staff or human resources for a person for this grant. So I am concerned, and I will not be, this is for to help fund, to jointly fund a staff person for this.
I don't remember, but I don't remember us ever having a conversation about not funding. I think almost all the grants involve somebody doing the work. I don't remember having that conversation.
This one was specific, this one was specific for a person for this grant. It wasn't excluded, but I'm not against the mission or the person that would be doing the work. I just don't.
I think this is an important conversation because we've never said that to the applicants. There's nowhere in any of our RFP materials that we've said, and we won't fund personnel.
True.
Am I wrong? Am I missing something?
No, you're not. I think we had a bullet, I think we had, it was for youth serving organizations. I have no further comments or questions.
It sounds like,
Do we have
The-
any other comments or questions?
Is there another issue with this particular proposal? I mean,
I'm not aware of any unless someone wants to make a comment or question at this time. Okay, I'll close the vote. Go ahead, Vincent, you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I am sensitive to the concern of providing limited or short-term grant money for what is fundamentally an ongoing or recurring expense. I don't want to unintentionally create a problem for an organization that may not be able to sustain something. And in terms of impact, I do think it's important to make sure that we're having a positive impact as opposed to creating a problem. You know, that said, I think, especially in the nonprofit world, it is part of the regular pattern to acquire grant funding and then go out and try to get the funding behind it to sustain it over a period of years. So it sounds like it might just be a conversation that we need to have. I think at one point we had a conversation about whether we would be funding recruitment efforts. So, I mean, I think it's worth having a conversation as we better define our goals and priorities as a board. So I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 3-1. Okay. Next is motion to approve $8,800 grant for Widener University's Community Engaged Teacher Education Program, CETE, subject to county council approval. I am making that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried. I will allow someone else to make a motion to approve $10,000 grant for CADES, Children and Adults Disability Education Services, subject to county council approval.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I will make a comment. I had the opportunity to visit CADES. It's a wonderful, excellent facility. They are a youth serving organization. This funding is for capital expenditures. I wanted to make a proposal today to create a grant for playgrounds and parks and recreation facilities that I felt that this would be a better fit for, especially since they are an open access outdoor facility. However, since we're tabling that grant, I will support this. But I think that when there could be a potentially better match, I think we could have steered this towards that grant, but I will support this at this time. So I just wanted to make that comment. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. At this time, we will open thank everyone for their patience with this meeting, the length of this meeting. This time we'll open the meeting up for public comment.
There is no public comment, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any authority comments?
Thank you all it was a good meeting. We had a lot on the agenda.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 3:10 PM. Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank you.
day and a
You
great
too.
weekend.
Bye-bye.